Chapter 2, and then Constant Desnoix' wine. Autumn came. Reynard kept his word. They ate well at Malpas. Lord Jean de la Feuille harvested his grapes from the hillside, and the smell of boiling unfermented wine spread as far as the forest. One October evening, the Lord summoned Foucher Gallop, the carter, to his castle. "Foucher," he said, "take 2 of your best horses, 1 between the shafts and 1 at the head. Harness them before daybreak. I have a hogshead of new wine that Constant Desnoix is buying from me, and I intend to deliver it tomorrow. I'll give you 2 of my farm hands to act as guards and take it in turns with you, for I want to preserve this wine from any accident or from being broached. I rely on you. Have a good journey, Foucher." The carter, cap in hand, went out backwards. After crossing the bridge and the moat, he came to the path, replaced his cap on his head and began to laugh silently, like those people who talk to themselves and confide their secrets to the wind. Reynard was meditating near the moat. He saw Foucher with his mouth open, and suspecting that he was going to talk to himself, he followed him along the road in the ditch.
"Broach it," said Foucher. "That was set for my benefit, but all hogshead, you drill hole into stave and wine trickles out and hold yours goblet under it. When yous want drink, yous put yours finger over it hole. Yous drink 1 goblet, 2 goblets. Yous put yours finger over. Yous start again. When yous aren't thirsty and more, yous put plug in until yous feel thirsty again. That don't take long in my case. Does plenty of time for getting to done worse place."
Reynard did not miss one word of this. Foucher picked up a pebble, and as he threw it up and down, from one hand to another, he went on with his soliloquy.
"And don't object to anyone drinking new wine. If God hadn't wanted us to drink, it'd have made it sound better to prove it. 2 farmhands each said, I'll ask for a tag on Gunwin. We just took bit together, feeling thirsty at the same time. Few pats water in hogshead full of wine can't possibly be noticed."
Reynard knew more than enough. He ran away through a shortcut and went quickly towards a serviceberry tree, where he knew he could find an acquaintance at this hour. Evening was falling. The ripe berries shone red through the leaves like little lamps.
"Hey, Tinker!" called Reynard. "Don't hide, I know you're there. How are your autumn chicks? Are they thriving, or did they hatch out too late? Tinker! Tinker!"
Beneath the leaves, the poor sparrow trembled throughout his entire body. First of all, he tried to remain still, without even a flicker of his eyelid, but when Reynard installed himself in the grass at the foot of the tree, he despaired of escaping his watchful eye and begged for mercy.
"Spare them, Lord Reynard. They're so young and small."
"So it's true, is it?" sneered the fox. "Is your nest full, poor mad little Tinker? For it's mad to hatch out a brood in August."
"Would you like some berries?"
the sparrow went on.
"They're ready, just slightly overripe. I'll throw you down the best ones."
1 rosy berry, then 2, solid and heavy, fell down into the grass in front of Reynard. He did not even condescend to see them.
"Come down, Tinker. It's you I want."
"Sir Reynard."
"Tinker, what are you thinking of? That I want to gobble you up, perhaps? You don't know me, Tinker. Nice Tinker, friend Tinker. No, Tinker, I need you. Come down."
And he began to shake the tree, first gently and then more and more strongly, in the end so violently that service berries rained down around him. Tinker, trembling more and more, saw him jump lightly sideways and quickly swallow something.
Count your children, friend Tinker, for I'm afraid I've made a mistake and eaten a little sparrow that fell from your nest."
The next moment, poor Tinker, his wings drooping, trembling all over, alighted at his feet in the grass.
"Good," said Reynard. "Don't be frightened any more. Stay 4 paces away if you wish, but close enough to hear what I'm saying."
Then he said what he had to say and left him with these closing words.
"I have your promise, friend Tinker. Down with meaningless threats. I know how to find you again, Tinker."
The chains of the portcullis creaked in the early morning mist as the drawbridge was lowered over the deep moat round the Chateau de la Feuille, making a noisy disturbance that shook the wooden beams. The chains jangled, the axles creaked beneath the weight of the huge cask, the waggoners shouted, whips cracked, the horses whinnied. The lantern that was still lit at the front of the waggon shone like a large dim eye. The 3 carters had only one thought, to go far enough away in order to extract their share and warm their stomachs. They were simple, rough people, with blue chins and strong hands. Foucher walked in front, leading the first horse, Gondwin alongside, and Tiger the Crusher behind. It was Tiger who first saw Tinker the Sparrow. At that moment they had reached the houses in the village. Tiger was not likely to be surprised at seeing a sparrow hopping along a road behind 2 draft horses, hoping for manure full of oats. What did surprise him was to see the sparrow fluttering around his head. He brushed him away with his hand, just as he would brush away a gadfly in the forest. Tinker was pestering him like a gadfly, in fact, coming back, wheeling round, his wings whirring, forcing him to blink and raise his elbow to protect himself. The bird worried him and made him angry, until in the end his blood boiled like a cauldron on the fire and he swore like a trooper. Gondwin heard him.
"What'sn't matter?"
he said.
"It's this accursed sparrow," cried Tiger. "Oh, damnation, he's flying at you now."
He unfastened his whip from round his neck, a carter's whip with a leather strap, cracked it hard at Tinker but hit Gondwin in the face. Gondwin squealed like a pig at the slaughter.
"What's matter?"
said Foucher from in front.
"It's this damnable Tiger," said Gondwin, "or rather that sparrow that he missed. He's flying to you. Take that, sparrow."
And Foucher received on his face the stroke of the whip that the furious Gondwin cracked in Tinker's direction. Foucher saw stars. He yelled even more loudly than Gondwin. The strokes of the whip and the fearful shouts spurred the 2 horses on. They reared, rushing under their traces, pulling together in opposite directions, forcing one shaft to go crooked, with the tip towards the door of a barn, neighed with a mad look on their faces, and broke the chains.
"Be careful!"
shouted Foucher, stooping. The end of a chain was swinging loose, whistling and whirring through the air like a mass of weapons. The dray stuck. The front horse set off at a gallop, clods of earth flying up behind it. The shaft horse fell down. The chain struck home and did not miss its target, for the barrel, although it was full, clanged like a church bell, and through the joint of a broken stave the rosy red wine came gushing and bubbling out.
"Stop! Stop!"
cried the master waggoner. Between the pouring wine and the galloping horse he waved his arms in all directions. He pulled off his cap, threw it on the ground, begged heaven to come to his aid, and called for help.
"Catch it where it's coming out. Stop at leak, or road will drink all."
That was not what Foucher wanted. He took out his goblet and began to drink, really drink, to capacity, until he could no longer breathe.
"I can't manage it all,"
he said, opening his mouth like a carp and recovering his breath.
"You could come and help me, you lazy fellows."
And Gondwin and Tiger came to help him, and along with them appeared 2, 3, 10, 30 peasants, laughing, dancing, and kissing the mouth of the red fountain again and again. There were almost as many people as there had been on the bridge that day when Surly gave Reynard such a fine chase. But if Reynard was present now, if he could see and recognise the people, it was from a deep and sure hiding place, a cellar ventilator with a curtain of ivy beneath the stone staircase of the Vavasor Robert. Behind, there was a subterranean corridor which led to the backs of the houses near the serviceberry tree where Tinker built his nest. Between the ivy leaves, Reynard watched the bunch of humanity leaping up and down and wading through the wine. The smell caught at his throat, stung his eyes and dazed him. The peasants were dancing. The women's coifs leapt and wavered. Wooden pails and earthenware pots were filled up and passed from hand to hand. Then they began to sing. Reynard thought of little Tinker. He must have got back to his nest and found his baby sparrows again. One more, one less. Tinker had so many chicks between Palm Sunday and the wine harvest that he could not even count them any more. On the road there was wild revelry. And who had started it? "How important you are, Tinker," said Reynard into his whiskers, "to make a whole village dance like that. But what can be said of Reynard, who made Tinker fly?" Then his eyes began to sparkle. The silence had suddenly fallen, and the crowd of peasants parted. Running along the empty pavement, pale as death, staggering like the most drunken of the drinkers, although he was the only one to have drunk nothing, came Constant Desnoix.